Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Dicing with Death.
Hello. So, Devon has torn an interdimensional portal to the Feywild
You have
here on the solstice, witnessed by Apprentice Moth, who casts her dimensional breadcrumbs. Does she have yarn or a crust of bread?
She has brought with her a spool of twine.
There you go. So it probably gets tied to a twig or something nearby, staked into the ground. It's probably metaphorical. So for the duration of the spell, like even if the stake gets kicked over or moved, there's the twine goes ethereal or whatever, phases, and Devon, followed by his apprentice, step through into the wildwood, wherever this is we're going.
Into
Mist oozes from this temporary portal, splattering the hill here. It's not dry because it's this like marshland, but it's like salty, brackish. But I think over time, this misting of fresh Feyan water will irrigate this hilltop. And odd plants in the future will be growing here. There will probably like ferns and like, toadstools and stuff popping up on this hill, and it will be eerily moist and fertile compared to the brackish marsh around it. An odd site of interest for a future adventurer. And we go forth. Yeah, no.
Yeah.
We
you step out onto a tree branch, and you can see that there are branches and foliage below you and branches and foliage above you, and these mirror pools sort of, in a knot of a tree here, on a broad leaf over there. Your apprentice steps in behind you, and would you roll me D100 plus 2?
Oh, yeah. I shouldn't know this, right?
Oh, I should roll it. Yeah, you're absolutely right.
Yeah. But maybe I didn't add this to the spell description, but I think you would look at it and like give me your narrative explanation of what I see, right? Like you can probably look at it and say how stable it is.
Yeah, you take a look at the portal, and it is holding its bounds. It seems solid for the time being, but you can see that there's a little bit of a wobble around the edges. A little bit of like a slow shift. Yeah. But the general shape of it still maintains very clearly.
Yeah, 4th level spell costs 18 mana. I have 19. So if I want to guarantee that I don't have to spend the night in the Feywild, I should save 18 mana so that I could, at worst case, we could find our way back here to this thinness and like cut our way home. But potentially, in fact, that's got to be the plan, right? I'm not going to go in and out in an hour or however long this is open, unless I walk right through and find an elf and get all my questions answered.
Well,
so Devon and Moth explore. Is there a way to go up and down? Like we go out onto this branch. Is it easy to like hop to the next branch or to go into one of these mirror pools, or are we like stuck unless we climb?
You could go back to the trunk of the tree that you were upon and scale up it, but the trees are close enough together that the branches get close that you could hop from one to another. There might need to be some dex checks involved occasionally if you're going to be doing a lot of tree hopping.
Totally, yeah.
Or you could climb down and see if there's another easier path over. You could climb. If you want to avoid the dex checks, you can take more time of like climbing up a tree and looking for a better path, or going back and circling around.
That Moth is like cautiously following behind Devon, and like spooling out her thread and like carefully tiptoeing from branch to branch, while Devon bounds ahead, invoking a dex check or whatever.
Yeah, give us that dex check then. Easy.
33. I think if I didn't note it, I wanted a tumbling proficiency, which I have an extra slot. I just haven't spent it. So I'm going to note that. I didn't use it here, but that slot's tumbling. It makes sense with the unarmed combat. I couldn't understand why I didn't have it beforehand, but...
Makes perfect sense.
Yeah. But anyways, that was just a flat dex check. And Devon bounds ahead.
Mm-hmm.
He's right at home, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's always suspected he's got a fey nature to him.
Mm-hmm.
And he scampers through. So there's a bit of a gap, depending on how many rounds before an encounter or whatever. Devon he's moving at probably double the movement rate of the apprentice, right? So Devon's skipping ahead. Apprentice is cautiously following behind.
Yes,
Maybe
Moff taking
trying to map the route, but it's of course going to fail. Devon does have the cartography skill, but he knows better than to cartographize the Feywild. And last time we talked about the 3 realms of the Feywild. Is that in a wiki somewhere? Where did
that is? But that's actually just of the Elven world. That the Shaped Wood, the Shaped Wood, Wildwood, and Outlands are in the Prime Materia plane. That is
really?
the Elven kingdom. That is how the elves define their presence in the real world, not in the Feywild.
Okay, but I'm almost certain that we could go from the Feywild. That's like easy access to the Outlands or to the Wildwood, right?
The Feywild will have multiple entrances and exits throughout the Prime Materia plane, so you could use it to skip vast distances of space if you know what you're doing. But you'd have to know where you're supposed to be heading in order to do that.
I don't know. Mm-hmm. But we're researching it. So we're trying to like hop in this portal here and navigate our way to either the Outlands or the Wildwood, and then eventually to a Shaped Wood place or whatever. Maybe not in this adventure, but in the course of our future research. So what should we roll?
I would like no rolls for the moment.
Okay.
As you are hopping around on these trees, you come across one of these large mirror pools of water that happens to be upon a broad branch with a knot in it that looks like it might have been hollowed out by some sort of woodland creature and is now just filled with the water that ever precipitates from the sky. And as you look down into it, you can see most certainly that it's not a reflection of what is directly above you. It's certainly a reflection out some other pool, some other place. And as you gaze into it, you see a face come into focus. You see your own face come into focus, but older, more worn, more weary, like wrinklings across your face. Your eyes are not milky, but sort of faded. Your hair is sort of grayed and darkened, and the eyes are wide with concern and terror.
Do I think that entering this pool would accelerate my aging or something like that?
I think at this point, everything is up for you to decide.
This doesn't seem like a good pool. I think we'll keep looking.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you go to move away, and you notice the face in it doesn't move away. It seems to be acting independently of your own face. It seems to be something, and it waves at you. It tries to like motion at you as you gaze into it.
Devon knows better to pull himself away, and he shouts back to capture a train. Shouts back to Moff to not slip in this pool. And we continue going, ignoring it.
Okay.
We will look. Devon wants to look in a further pool to see if it is better outcome, but
sure.
he will slows down and investigates and waits to make sure that he's got Moff in sight, so that if she's ambushed by Charo says it's a changeling, that he can go back and save her.
Sure. Moff is attempting to follow you as best as possible, trying not to take these big jumps that you are. So she is going, up over here and then crossing and then down again, and her spool of yarn or cord seems to continue to flow out well beyond its original 1,000-foot limit. A strong wind rushes up from below you, pushing, sort of buffering you almost off of your tree branch. Not enough to invoke a check. You'll have to catch and steady yourself for a moment. But you notice the strong breeze from below you carries with it water, like raining upward against you. And the wind nearby begins to cyclone viciously. Leaves tear off and flutter around in a funnel that rises up from the tree trunks beneath and comes in your direction.
We stand back and brace ourselves and hopefully watch this vortex pass. Water and air combined.
The vortex rises above you and then settles back down again, hovering in the air, not quite on any given branch, but nearby. And from it comes a soft voice asking, Who are you? How are you here? This realm is not meant for you.
I am Devon, and I go where I will. Who are you? Folklore check maybe? So water spirit or maybe or is it a fey creature or
Give me the folklore check.
And I haven't quite researched the conjure elemental kin. Oh, mad fail. I don't know. So I guess I just leave it at who are you? What are you?
Safi, comes the voice, giving you but a single name.
Safi, be you elemental or fey? Is this in common? I guess that's the only language I speak without a tongue spell.
It appears to be speaking your own native tongue, and quite fluently without accent or hesitation. But that seems a bit unusual for a creature of another realm to speak your very humanistic language.
I speak 5 languages. Just don't know what they are.
The whirling wind of a creature thing settles on a nearby branch. The whirling leaves and vapors fade away, and you find yourself standing before what appears to be an elven creature, an elven person.
Devon asks naively, are you an elf? Or some other spirit?
The first. She is wearing a, greenish dressy thing with what appears to be some sort of leather and gold trimmed armor over it, and a long rapier at her side, as well as a Serona looking headband made out of gold with little baubles across it. At her side is also a dagger, as well as what appears to be a few component pouches. She regards you with a quizzical, curious look.
Are you a sorceress?
She gives a half-hearted shrug. Those definitions have little meaning to us, those that walk between worlds.
How many more worlds must I walk before I speak the same as you?
I don't quite follow. How did you get here? This realm is not open to the mortals.
How can you tell I'm mortal?
She motions behind you to Moth, who is struggling to scamper up a tree right now and barely makes it up, huffing and puffing, and wraps the cord around the tree branch. That one is. What are you?
I am a wizard. A mage.
You're not human.
Sorcerer. I'm not.
Do you not know yourself yet? There's no way a human could get here, regardless of how strong of a sorcerer you are. Without an escort? Impossible.
On smirks. Perhaps you are my escort.
Are you running from something?
Running to something. My destiny. I'm going to... I'm going to roll a... Can I roll a charisma check?
Of course.
Maybe an opposed charisma check. The foolish Devon thinks he can out charisma an elf, and he gets a good read on her, or he thinks he does.
Okay.
Good vibes. So he boldly tells her his ambition. I'm going to discover the Philosopher's Stone. She rolls a 1. So we both fail. I think we just, neither of us, we're reading past each other.
Yeah.
Tangential cultures. I'm going to discover the Philosopher's Stone.
She, her face cracks, showing the abject concern for you when you mentioned going for the Philosopher's Stone, and you sort of ignore her other pointed questions.
Mm-hmm. Where is... Do you know where the world staff touches this plane? I've heard your people have a fragment.
There are many fragments scattered throughout the
By
Prime
now, I think
Plane.
Moth has caught up, and she's struggling to she's frantically writing. You space out in class for a minute, and you've got crazy amounts of notes to catch up on, and so she's just furiously writing, trying to catch up on the conversation.
Yeah, legs hugging the branch beneath her so she doesn't fall as she
right. She couldn't make it all the way down. She's 2 branches up, just all right, I can hear them from here. I'm clutching for dear life and writing down whatever I need to finish writing down or catch up on writing down.
There are many fragments, but they're extremely powerful. Those who seek to get their hands on a shard of the staff of the world are viewed with some concern among my people. Our people, I suppose. Why? She asks, with all of her petulant questions, never being satisfied with the answers you give her.
I think Devon probably can't compute why. It's obvious.
Mm-hmm.
Immortality, infinite wealth,
you
knowledge
have that here.
Beyond compare.
Stay here. You will live forever. You will have everything you need.
I will live forever and go where I please. I am a sorcerer. As are you.
You are touched. You are touched by something otherworldly. Was there a sign in the sky the day you were born?
Yvonne doesn't know. He's not an astrologer. He was also a baby.
She furrows her brow.
That was out of character.
No, but I mean, if you stay silent, she furrows her brow, concerned at this creature she's talking to. You can see the displeasure on her face grows, as at first you were an object of curiosity, and now you're clearly something.
I just can't play a wizard without you trying to scapegoat me as the harbinger of Ragnarok.
Is that what you're getting from this conversation?
I don't know. I failed my charisma check. Where? Can I even remember her name?
Safi.
Safi. Where are you from? Have you an enclave nearby, or
I was
are you a
born
traveler
here.
like myself?
I make my home here. I visit your world from time to time, but this is my place, the place of shadows and dreams and rain and wind.
Place of magic, or at least some of it. How long has it been?
Are you asking the DM or are you asking the elf?
Myself, or I glance back at Moth and her spool of thread, and we pass a look between pupil and teacher, and I know how long her spell's got to last. Between PC and henchman, and I know how long her spell is.
I believe the spell lasts a day per level, so it is still running.
So, okay, but it's still well within the first day, even in the Feywild. Yeah. Let's see. I asked her where she's from. She was like, "I'm from here." Yeah, I asked her. Yeah. Did she have a village nearby? Are there others like her?
She gives a light giggle at your response. There are no villages here. There are no settlements or towns. No
are there
structures.
Others?
Yes. Countless others.
Can you take us to them?
Why?
That we may meet.
We're meeting. Am I not enough for you?
More than enough, milady. And I think Devon takes a seat and moves to like make himself look comfortable, and he is. Chatting with a fey creature in her native land. Her perception of time is probably a little more stretched than my own. So I'm sure even if she finds me disconcerting or uninteresting, she'll probably entertain idle chit-chat longer than I will.
Seems
Wasted
very happy.
time, small talk. Yeah. So Devon will sit back, and he's happy to speak with this elven traveler.
You will
exchange information and knowledge while an apprentice furiously writes things down. Devon is not too forceful about like trying to get specific information about what about his quest. He's not like, tell me where the philosopher's stone is. Tell me if you want to live. But at some point he will activate the ESP to read her mind. So there's probably a chance that she like feels the probe or notices. I don't think it's like strategic. It's probably incidental throughout the conversation. And I think it once per day. And I think if it's at my level, it's 9 rounds. I don't know if it was cast at like a level of the creator or level of the caster.
And there's no saving throw on ESP unless it's part of an interrogation.
Surface thoughts are free to go. I'm not interrogating her unless you want to get really cynical on like the nature of human interaction.
Not today, but one day.
Okay, yeah. So I catch your surface thoughts.
They are mostly curiosity about this strange traveler in this area.
There's no like ulterior motives. She's not like thinking about how she can trick me into her fey bargain or...
No, you don't feel anything like that. It seems to be genuine shock and curiosity at something she does not recognize. And she will say much the same. She'll tell you that she has been here for a long time, longer than you have spent on Earth, and has not seen something like you come in. She wants to know things like, how did you get here? What magics exactly allowed you to enter? She'll ask you where your point of entrance was on the real world. Are you willing to answer such questions?
Yeah, but not necessarily directly, and I don't imagine that an elf speaks directly either. So Devon will answer the where with like a when. He'll like describe that it was at the summer solstice, and he tore a temporary portal between our planes at this moment of thinning. Yeah. Can we like opposed spellcraft check or something? Can I try and gauge her? I guess spellcraft is a proficiency, not a power. I'm wondering how powerful she is, like what spells she might have access to. Like, is there a way to like describe this dimensional tearing and figure out if she's like, yeah, I could do that, or if she's like, what the hell is this magic? Clearly higher level than me.
She does seem to be extremely impressed by your capabilities of spellcasting.
But is it like, I guess here I've got the ESP running. Is it like she's impressed that I did this for a human, or she is impressed, period, and even like as an elf, she couldn't necessarily. I guess she said she goes to the, to my plane.
So She is impressed that you have been able to do this for who you are. But when she talks about, and she will talk at length about her travels through here, it makes you get the impression that her ability to enter and exit the Feywild is sort of a natural ability that comes with her.
Yeah,
it's
so
not like an extra magic.
Like a 1st or a 5th level elven mage, and she would have this ability. It's sort of like if you go into the skills and powers and you make yourself a drow, you get your freaking fairy fire as a freebie or whatever it is.
Right.
Maybe there might even be higher level stuff that you get at like a level 1 just because you picked your, I don't know, your OP min-max character or whatever. Okay.
There's another thing that might be interesting to you is that when she talks about the elves in the prime materia plane, she uses I don't know how this translates well, but she uses another term that sounds very much like elf, but there is maybe an accent on the word, or, if this were a tonal language, it would come in a slightly different tone that clearly implies like a sub-elf or like a...
half-elf. Does she use this about me? Or
No, just about the elves from her world, from your world, from the prime materia plane. And when she talks about you, she uses some sort of derivation of the word for some sort of like combination for the word of elf and celestial, some sort of that has roots in both of those. And language can be a difficult thing here.
Yvonne is not a student of language, so she's speaking common for his sake, correct?
Right, she's speaking common, and yet you hear the word elf, and yet you can hear it with these other definitions in it. You can hear the denotations and the connotations of the words being different, even though it comes across as the same word elf, elf, elf over and over again.
So does that mean she's like speaking some super language that like is translated to my understanding?
That's the impression you're getting. Yeah, that there's some sort of other language being spoken that is automatically translating between the two of you. And you're receiving information, but it sounds like your own tongue.
Can I learn more about this without using a spell slot? So using like a spellcraft check, could I tell if she's like magically speaking to me versus something else? I fail.
Absolutely.
So I have no idea if she's magically speaking or if she's speaking common for my sake, or or the nature of this place.
Right.
I eventually pull out some rations and like have a snack and make a picnic. I offer her ghee, and
she will nibble at your food. She will pull out some like sandy looking thing from one of her component pouches around her waist, and holding out a hand, collects some rainwater and sprinkles the powder into the rainwater in her hand and offers it to you to drink.
Pause while I read my character sheet. Oh, I've got... Yeah, I'll do you one better, and I pull out a bottle, a flask, a pouch. What do they call a wineskin of owl feather wine. It's my identification component. But I think this is like Necrodian wine. What do you call it? What's Uncle Vinny's vineyard? I mean, it's in like an unlabeled leather pouch, but it's like, and I guess for an elf, she's like a wine drinker from France, and here I am pulling out like this, like California, whatever, soup, California wine, infused with owl feathers though, for easy identification. And if I will drink and share that if.
Do you drink your owl feather wine, not the sand
both.
water mixture she's offering you?
We're having a picnic and having a conversation. I would say like whiling away the hours of the afternoon, but I think the time of day never changes. It's just like filtered sunlight sitting on this branch. We're probably telling time by like the pages that Moth is flipping through. I'm sure she's taken the time at some point to like, okay, I'm going to stop hugging this branch, realize this conversation is going to go on for hours, find a more comfortable and stable seat, and get a snack myself. And I think time slips away. Devon is free with information. He's happy to tell her of humanity, share with her the knowledge of his library, and offer her an open pass to come visit anytime she would like to peruse our knowledge.
Yeah, she'll ask about what the Red Hills are like, and when you describe them to her, she looks in shock and horror and offers you and your apprentice refuge here if you want to escape the hellish wastelands from which you come.
We'll take said refuge for the night, but we will be returning. He doesn't necessarily say this, but speaking, I don't know, narratively. We'll take refuge for the night, and the next day, after some rest and relaxation, we will return to the Red Hills. So maybe she invites us to like is there a little enclave that she's from? Like what does refuge entail when he's like
invite you to any particular enclave? And when you mention like you want to stay for the night, her head does one of these like weird cocking to the side things as her long pointed ears like twitch a little bit, and she tells you again like there is no night here. Don't you know where we are?
Where do you rest? How do you sleep with no moonlight? Where do you hang up your soul when Falumbra embraces you? Or caresses you? Not embrace. We'll save embrace till we're older.
I find I rarely tire, and when I need rest, I sit and enjoy the space.
Elves don't need to rest in the Feywild.
They just meditate. They just meditate, Ryan. Don't you know? She seems to describe some like pseudo resting state where she finds like a comfortable place and closes her eyes. And
Devon
instead
is
of
fascinated
calling it
by this, he asks her to teach him how to meditate. If meditate is the word they use.
No, it's not. She says that she sends herself to the plane of dreams when she feels like she needs to rest. But then if you pry into it, it seems like her physical body just stays somewhere, but her mind goes to the plane of dreams where she can rest and recuperate her strength.
If I ask for instruction in this, can she or will she give it to me? Like, will she give like a demonstration? Will she coach me through it? Or is she like, no, now's not the time?
Would you teach me how to breathe air?
Yeah. Would you like to borrow a necklace or maybe a fish?
How does one breathe? It's an automatic reflex. You open your lungs, your chest expands, air pulls in, and then it squishes out. In the dream realm, much is the same. I find myself against
Devon shows off his necklace, which I think is a simple pendant of driftwood. And he tells her the tale of how it was gifted to him by the mermaids. Maybe I found it in a hag's cave. He tells the story better than Ryan is, or maybe not, because I failed that charisma check at the beginning of the conversation.
Okay. She hears what you're saying, and
yeah.
I can, if you would like, I can help you try to visit the plane of dreams now.
That's exactly what he was asking for. Yeah, let's go to the plane of dreams. Moth is like, bad idea, but Devon is off. All right. So does she coach me through some guided meditation?
She scoots back on the branch and rests her back against the trunk of the tree and motions for you to come forward. And as you make your way forward, she grabs and twists your body so that you can lean back against her. So the two of you can lean against the tree, and she'll wrap one arm around your waist to kind of keep you steady, and then wraps the other arm on your forehead and then slowly lets it drift down over your face to kind of cover your eyes. Her lips rest near to your ear, and you can hear mutterings of, now it comes in a foreign language.
Throw versus spell.
Or if you want to resist, you can resist, but I thought you wanted to go to the plane of dreams.
Is she casting a spell on me? Is this a bad? I'm out of character or narratively. I'm interested either way, but I feel like Devon may be getting I almost want to roll the saving throw versus spell to see if he gets the heebie-jeebies, and he's like, oh my god, do not let a fey creature send you to the realm of dreams.
Then maybe saving throw versus spell is an appropriate heebie-jeebie factor.
The thing I don't like about using that to solve the question is once you're like a high level, suddenly you never get to go on adventures because you always pass your saving throw versus spell. And you're like, hold on. So I think what this means is like Devon resists on like a subconscious level.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, Fey creature sending me to the realm of dreams, getting nervous, and the nervous is making him unable to like follow the guided meditation.
And she feels your nervousness, and the strange words that she was speaking become like soft hushes of shh, relax. Close your eyes, unfocus your mind, let it drift and wander. I'm here with you. I'll protect you. I'll keep you safe. You're in my care now. Come with me.
And like on a conscious level, he like tries to buy into the yoga class, but like he can't stop the skeptic, the wizard in him. And I don't think he gets to the realm of dreams.
Yeah.
But he researches it, and Moff is probably there, a sober third party, taking better notes than he will remember.
Yeah, a few minutes of her trying to gently coax you into relaxation and you being maybe a little too tense to do it. And
she'll maybe more wine, and we'll get back to the picnic.
She'll lift her hand gently up your forehead and like push your head away very, very tenderly, and kind of shift you away from her on the branch, and says to you, you may be not ready for that yet, but hopefully you will be able to... You are closer. Hopefully you will be closer to your true self now than when you first entered.
Perhaps I will need to practice what you taught me.
She reaches into a pouch tucked on the backside of her lower back and pulls out another loaf of bread to split with you, saying, eat this. It will strengthen your core self, who has been hidden and suppressed for so long.
She's telling me about chakras, and we eat this elvish whey bread. Is that what this is?
Yeah, that's probably a good
it's
term
delicious.
for it.
You'll have to give me the recipe. Can I get the recipe from her?
She laughs at you and says, the ingredients for this you cannot find in your world. It takes, and she points to one of the nearby puddles, takes water from our realm. It takes heat from here.
Gathers water from this realm.
He chuckles at you.
He chugs his the rest of his, or he finishes the rest of his wine, offering her, like, he chugs a bunch. He tries to get her to help him finish the wineskin, and then he will fill it with water from the Feywild.
If you hunger for this bread, it is only because you've been deprived of it your whole life. This is part of the essence of immortal beings.
Well, he drinks lustily from the pools, from the Fey pools.
Mm-hmm.
Enjoys this conversation, and maybe this takes the whole duration of the spell. Like, did they just like talk for like 24 IRL hours, and eventually Moth is like, guys, your spell's running out, we gotta go.
Yeah,
or, like,
you guys,
my spell's running out, we gotta go.
Sit and do your thing. Moth pays attention to the string. Eventually it does seem to begin to fade. And at some point in time, you get a poke from below. Faded, haha. You get a poke from above, was it? Above, as Moth like reaches down to touch your head to like point out that the twine is fading.
Yeah, I'm afraid we've got to go. Would you like to come back with us?
The place you described as your home sounds inhospitably cruel and unforgiving. I hope to never lay eyes upon it.
Well, I hope to see you again. Safi, was it?
Safi.
Where can I find you? Do you have a cell phone number?
I don't think we'll ever meet again. Unless you come back.
I will be back.
She considers for a moment. I will come with you to the exit. And I will wait for your return.
Yeah, Come, let me show you from whence we came. And we will, maybe with her help, we even make a more efficient route back to where we came. I show her the thread of my apprentice that we're following. Maybe she's suddenly slightly more impressed with Moth.
Mm-hmm.
Right? She thought Moth was just this weird tag along, but maybe Moth is the more sober, enlightened wizard of the, or at least of the two of us.
Mm-hmm.
She's been keeping track of time and tracking our progress.
Yeah, when you look over, you can see that Moth's book is, if she started at the very front of the book, she's now like 2/3 of the way through it. She must have been jotting down for.
It's probably not I think it was papyrus, right? It wasn't paper.
Maybe
so
it's
I think
a large
like a
scroll
weird,
then.
like bound, or maybe series of scrolls, or just like sheets of papyrus bound in brass or something.
Mm-hmm.
Not a full-on book. Field notes.
Safi will lead you back. She'll follow the threads that Moth has left, not trying to take any shortcuts or weird ways. And eventually you will come back to a place where the thread is tied to a trunk, and she will motion in the direction of the trunk and rest her hand against it and furrow her brow and say, "This is not an entrance. I would be most curious to see how you make it one. This tree has no soul."
Smirks and uses his dimensional tear, emptying out his mana pool. Does this take a casting time of 1? Because is this count as prepared if we're like retracing our steps to a portal that we opened previously, or do I spend 10 minutes circling the tree like a dog looking for a place to take a nap or a piss?
That's a great question.
Right. Is this tree now prepared from Devon's point of view?
No, I think you prepared the other side before, so now you must find a way to anoint and prepare this side.
She's an elf. She's patient. So Devon spends a turn walking circles around the tree and trying to look confident while he like looks at the angle and is like, "I know I came in this way." Like so I guess there's like the trunk at the branch where he came in, and she's like, "There's nothing special about this hunk of bark."
Mm-hmm.
And he spends 10 minutes like looking around the tree and preparing it emotionally. I don't know, preparing himself. I don't think it needs like necessarily material components.
No, but you might anoint the trunk of the tree with the rain that falls, and paint the water in the shape of the portal, or
there you go, yeah. And then eventually I when I think I've got it just right, I like stick my hands and they just sort of melt into the bark, and I pull them apart out to my own height and open this portal up.
She gives a gasp of like abject terror as you like rip a hole in the tree and the entire realm and dimension, just like ripping open a space between planes. The most inelegant solution from her perspective, which is like a natural ability to walk back and forth. It's like putting someone on a ventilator, if we're going to use the same breathing analogy from before.
And when I return, has it been 2 days?
How would you know?
I will know once I step through. So I'll step through and I'll see the sun misaligned. So I'll at least get an estimate, right? So like,
ooh, God,
right? Because
so smart, yeah.
I'm 16 intelligent wizard.
You'll have to wait for sundown, right?
To get playing a 16 intelligence fighter wizard.
Yeah, you'll have to wait till sundown to get the right location.
Well, if it's exactly 48 hours, it will be sundown again, or shortly after sundown.
No, when you step back into the prime materia plane, it is nighttime. You step through, you hear the soft crickets and the loud frogs of the swamp all about you, the buzzing of insects. You can feel the cool breeze, the lack of rainfall, and real solid ground under your feet for the first time.
Yeah. Does she visit with us, or is she?
She does not.
Okay.
Yeah, although it does stay open for a little while.
Yeah.
Not that long, actually.
Did I roll Did I roll a 99?
No, you did not.
It was like a 5. It's an unstable portal.
Yeah, it's really unstable. You step on through, the whole portal is like shuddering.
Yeah, I tell her not to worry. The universe abhors a vacuum. This little rip will heal itself, as will the tree.
I will wait here for your return.
Devon kind of looks surprised, but he doesn't really have time. He's getting through and getting on out. And I guess he assumes she's just going to sit there and meditate for some amount of time.
Mm-hmm.
Well, he does the same. He will hike the mile or so. Did you say it was dark?
It's dark. It is nighttime.
Yeah, back to Drexel's workshop, where he and Moth will rest. I think mechanically they'll probably spend at least a day in study, going over her notes, maybe several days in study going over her notes.
Before you get a chance to do that,
Sure.
You arrive in the workshop and you find it has been slightly changed since last you were here. Someone has brought in some like fully constructed bed frames and added some sacks filled with hay to act as like beds, including bringing in some blankets. And now there are some large jars with stoppers in them that, if you open, will contain wine in 2 of them and dried rations in 4 of them.
Presumably my other apprentices. So can we skip a few days of study while we like go over our notes? Devon like whatever touches heads with Moth and figures out her perspective on the whole adventure. We regain our MP. And maybe we bump into Cassandra, who's responsible for popping up here. And
not quite, but if you go out to look for her one of these days, you will watch the sun rise, or you'll find it when it's setting, and you'll see that it has been -5 days. It's a few days before the solstice.
Sweet. Who do I figure out who brought the bedding?
No, there's no sign of who would have brought it.
We investigate that. We study that, and I recover my MP. And then I think when the solstice comes around again, Devon will open the portal. So that will set a hard deadline on it. But
yeah.
In the meantime, if we can figure out where these beds came from, that'd be nice.
There's no one here to tell you where they came from, so I don't know how you're going to find it out.
We'll be camping out in our bunks beneath Drexel's workshop for a couple of days, talking about what happened. I'll be looking at her notes, and we'll be editing them and discussing and theorizing and yada yada. I think I can get quality sleep and study.
Absolutely. 100%.
D13, D2. The first day, so we're gonna spend a couple days. We got 5 days before the solstice, and then on the solstice we'll see what happened. Did Moth have any insight that we'd care to share with me, or is it meh?
Let's see. Moth was able to hear all the same as you. Her points of interest tend to be over the language Safi was using to describe you. She brings up that
I butchered my spellcraft check. Can she get one?
Yeah. Why don't
she had 13 int, so I'll roll a d20 plus 11. 21. She passed. So
nice.
Was she able to? So she was casting a spell, or was it like an innate? She was speaking and her words were translated.
Safi feels pretty confident that was a.
Moth feels confident.
I'm sorry, Moth. Yes. Moth feels pretty confident that was some variant of a tongue spell that just seems to last a long time, or perhaps she has something on her, like a permanent tongues spell cast on her, either
perhaps
through
a magic ring of comprehend languages.
Perhaps a magic ring, something like that.
Stitched into her leather glove.
But she recognizes from ancient scripts, or from the research that you have in your library, and probably from the Euglith that you have, actually.
She's been talking with the Euglith?
Yep.
What does she think of our little pet toad?
At first, a little bit of concern, but once she realized that they have similar goals in mind, it's sort of a Beauty and the Beast symbol.
She's named him Google. He helps us like search through the library for What's the intelligence of a Yugolith? Let's check. So it's 4 days. Do I get a 5th day before the solstice? I know I could go in the day before or the day after, but I mean, we're supposed to go in the day of.
Mm-hmm.
Yugoloth, not a Yugolith. Intelligence, average. Average to vary. I think this is the least, so average. So he's not a great librarian. But we can still call him Google. Do I get a fifth? Oh, that was 3, right? So I'll definitely get a 4th night. And that will get me to full.
Excellent.
In fact, over full in case I cast some incidental spells. That will
along the way, yeah.
8 short or something.
But what Moth was most interested in was the variant in language used. It's clearly some sort of tongue spell, but the difference between elf types and you all seem to use the same word, almost as if she was referring to herself as like a true elf or like a real core elf or like the first elf, and the people here that live in this world, that live in the prime materia plane, as sort of like a sub-elf or a lesser elf or like a...
So like elf is like person, and there's these variants on person that include humans, but a human is some modified person.
No, because when she was referring to Moth, she used a separate word for human. When she was referring to you, she used some sort of like... semi-elf or demi-elf, yeah, something like that, something a little bit mixed. And Moff is really wanting to know, what the hell are you, Devon? And she tiptoes around it a little while, but eventually, if Devon doesn't pick up on the tiptoeing, she'll flat out say, I don't think you're human, Devon. I think you're something different.
Devon agrees. I've always known that I'm destined more. It must be this philosopher's stone. It must be immortality. And probably that. I'm sure the apprentices will speculate on Devon's nature. The fans, the gossip columns, TMZ.
The water that you have brought from the Feywild appears to be just ordinary, normal water here. It has no special properties, and is just regular rainwater. Fresh, but regular.
Okay.
4 days later.
Yeah.
You open yourself another portal?
Yeah. Summer solstice. Were we able to figure out if we went back in time? Is that
It definitely appears to be 5 days before the summer solstice now.
We didn't shift years though, right?
Or 3 days. If it was 5 days ago, it'd be 3 days before the summer solstice. Yeah.
We didn't shift years though, did we?
How would you know?
I don't have any astrology skill.
But even if you're exactly, 360 days in the future, you wouldn't be able to tell even the stars would all have their same alignments.
Yeah.
So you either went...
I guess we'll find out when we go back to civilization.
Back in time or forward in time a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. Or back in time a few days.
Right.
So we will cast another dimensional tear on the summer solstice and see what's on the other side.
It rips open easily, and as you gaze through, you can see Safi sitting on the tree. She is currently munching on a small nibble of bread and mixing some sand in with that large pool that you had initially seen your reflection in. And, sprinkling some stuff in there and then scooping the water and drinking from her hand.
Yep. We step through. Moth casts her dimensional breadcrumbs, in this case, dimensional thread, and we step on through.
Yep. And
Hi, Safi.
Greetings, Devon.
How long? I hope you haven't been waiting long.
It has been but a moment.
How many moments?
She laughs.
How many
at
times
the joke.
did you meditate?
I have not meditated but once.
Good. Then perhaps you can help me practice.
Are you ready to go to the dream world now? Has enough time passed? Are you...
I'm not sure what, but I wish to see this place and all it has to offer.
You've been there before. You see it.
The dream world?
Her head nods.
Is it where we go when we sleep every night?
I believe your... She looks towards Moth and directs this comment at her. Your kind are capable of seeing the dream world in your sleep, just as we are, but your visits are through many veils of soft fabric, keeping you at safe distance so that the world may not harm you and preventing you from seeing beyond and harnessing the powers of the realm.
But you'd take me straight there.
You seem interested. And who am I to deny you what you desire?
Do you go straight there yourself?
Sometimes. Which dreams do you wish to have?
Dreams of the future. As things as they are meant to be.
The future is a dark and scary place. It is best avoided. There's too much time spent visiting forward time can drive a person mad. It is fractured. There are paths carved in stone and many, many trails in blowing sand.
And I wish to dream of the world staff, the philosopher's stone, the font of immortality. And if she will send him to a dream, it'll go. Can we get a health check on the portal?
Oh, right.
How did this one go?
This portal is super stable.
Yeah, so that makes him confident. We just walked through. Moth's right there with notes and a string, and portal's wide open. If Safi will send him there, Devon is ready to dream.
All right.
Should I instinctually roll a saving throw or just let it happen this time?
If you feel confident and ready, you can do it. You can calm your nerves and go forth. But I will need a different saving throw from you. It's still a saving throw versus spell.
Yeah.
But for different purposes.
Passes, trying to allow himself to go to the dream world, but maybe there's a second saving throw from something else.
Yes. As you enter the dream world, this saving throw is going to represent your ability to focus and control your own dreams here on this plane.
And I roll a 19. Perhaps with my Scarab of Protection, a 20.
Ooh, very lucky here.
Lucid dreaming?
It is near to that. You find yourself standing in your own subconscious, which I think for you means you're standing atop your tower. On the very, very top of your tower, Safi's arms still around you. She lets go of the one over your face, but keeps the one across your abdomen held tight to her, as if she doesn't want to leave you, leave touch with you while you're here.
And instead of off the side of this tree, we're off the side of this craggy spire. Mm-hmm. Is it Devon's tower as it is, or as it will be?
As it is now.
Okay. So only about less than 100 feet tall.
Mm-hmm.
His eyes go wide. Is there wind whipping? Sun shining?
The sun is directly above you. Your shadow is the tiniest little thing directly at your feet.
Are we looking out over the red hills?
You are.
Do you see what I see? Says Devon to Safi.
I have come with you into your dream. I see what you see, and I weep for what you have lost. How can you live here? How can anyone live here?
Where this land is poor in water and fresh air, It is rich with earth. And my people, the people of Necrot, grow wealthy off of its spoils.
I did not expect you to be a man of earth. I thought you were a man of wind and water.
I am a generalist. I wield all the elements. Perhaps I will even wield the fifth element, the magic of the Fey. This is not the Philosopher's Stone. Devon looks down at this tower. Staff rising from the earth.
Is it not? Look, and she points to the ground at you, and as you focus on the concept of the Philosopher's Stone and the staff that supports the world, your tower begins to rise away from the ground, and it twists a little bit, and the stone architecture takes on a wooden architecture. The parapets on the top of your tower come up into like a claw-like hand grasping, and the two of you standing in its palm. And in the way that dreams work, you can see your tower shift from a structure of stone into a very staff-like protrusion sticking out of the earth. Do you not see what you seek here? What you build?
Devon nods, thinking he understands, just like in his vision, and his mission is made clear. You will continue to lift the spires of Necrot from the earth and dig deeper in his quest for the Philosopher's Stone. Perhaps it's been waiting at home the whole time, or perhaps there are borders within the earth that he can find. Boundaries to tear and travel through.
Gazing out below your town around you, you can see that roads, big red roads of mud brick have been paved, and the shape of the roads, big and small, make up sort of a spiral around the tower itself. It looks actually like a rather large serpent wrapping around your tower, holding it tight in place.
Is Moff here with us, or is it just?
It's just the
Devon
two of you.
Safi? He doesn't have his paper, but he does his best to commit with his cartographer's mind this spiraling pattern to memory, that he may bring it home and draft it as plans for the road network around Necrot. An insane spiraling pattern.
The spiral ends where your quanot flows. And from there you can see, fangs and an open maw of a great serpent who looks very familiar. Coming from over the hills from the south winds another serpentine road that sort of ebbs and flows in the way that dreams or people on a hell of a lot of drugs see, with that sort of like shifting pattern that looks like movement but doesn't actually move. And you can see there is a rival serpent from the south that flows up the creek that exits from your serpent's maw. And you get the distinct impression that these two serpentine creatures, forces, roads, rivers, are near to battling, near to conflict.
That will be the quake that shakes the earth.
There's also to the northeast, as you gaze out, there is a dark spot, like a shadow across the map, although it is not cast by anything. It just ends in sort of a darkened space to the northeast.
The edge of the world? The void?
It's not that far. You can easily see beyond it. It seems right next door.
Yep, Afterpost is the edge of the world. The maw of the void.
Yeah. And Safi, with you here, As you gaze around, she turns with you, front to back, bodies held close together. So as you turn, she turns. And as she gazes upon that, she recoils.
Precariously on the spire.
Mm-hmm.
Devon asks, what is she, Atropos?
She's one of the Dark Ones. One of the forces of nature that drives us.
Perhaps a fate.
The fate of all mankind. And this mankind is the term of man that we've lost in this world. Mankind being like all human and humanoid races. Not just humans, but elves, dwarves, halflings, gnomes, yada yadas. Is that where you come from? Where you come? Is that what has dampened your spirit, hidden you away, deprived you of your nutrients, deprived you of the things that would make you, and she used that word for like, again, sort of hybrid elf, half celestial, half something term.
Interesting questions. Is there more to this dream, or do we eventually return? Do we return of our own accord, or does Moth shake us awake to say it's time to go?
Is there anything that you would like to do in your dream? You've visited it. You've kind of taken a quick look around. Are you trying to back out right now, or are you trying to
I think I got the information that I need. Okay. Devon feels like he needs to go back to Necrot and seek the Philosopher's Stone in the depths of his tower, this library. So he will continue to pull the towers of Necrot higher, and he will begin burrowing deeper in search of the Philosopher's Stone.
Well, if you are ready to leave, she will run her hand down your forehead again, closing your eyes in the dream world, and shaking you very gently until you sort of snap out of it in a sort of gentle, wakeful moment, and find yourself still in the Feywild. Moth crouched over you, roughly shaking you, far more roughly than would be needed to have woken
Devon
you.
Frantically goes to her paper, snatching her pen, and furiously scribbles the symbol that he saw from his tower.
You find all of Moth's pages are filled now.
He draws it like over her pages or something. Right, so like scrawled manically in her journal somewhere in the middle are these strange symbols that Devon attempts to recall. Your cartography is just an int check, and he natural 20, just the maddest of wizard scribbles. Her notebook has been blessed by by the gods of magic. The most insane tome.
Moth shakes you and says, the twine, it's gone. We have to go. Devon, we have to go.
Yeah, and she drags the scribbling mad wizard through the portal, and they return. If it's or do they need to?
No, you'll need to recast it. Yeah.
Oh, okay, so then he gets his wits about him and casts it again.
It's another nice, stable portal. The two of you can step through. Safi on the other side definitely doesn't come through at all.
Are you sure you don't wish to see Necrot?
I have seen enough in your dreams. I fear I will see them again in mine. Be kind, Devon. Be kind to those who have... to those around you.
He nods, not understanding her warning, her plea, and returns.
All right.
And Devon and Moth will return to Necrot with renewed vigor to their mission.
You will arrive back in Necrot, and as you enter, everywhere you go, people stand in silence, with wide eyes staring openly at you. They stop what they're doing. They drop the loads in their arms, their mouths open.
I think the tower is very close to the northwest corner, so it'll be one of the first destinations. So I just like walk past the Quanat crowd of people, drop their belongings, and Devon will go straight to the tower because it's right there, and ask either one of his apprentices or the Yugoloth, whichever he sees first, what year it is.
You step into a room where there is Cassandra and Asoy, both looking quite a bit older than when you last saw them. And they were mid-argument over something when you step in, and they stop.
What year is it? Says the Mad Wizard.
We find 2 years have passed in your absence. You find no one knows what happened to you. Everyone thought you had died. And in your absence, Cassandra has taken over lead of the tower. Your family is still alive, but your father-in-law has passed and is no more. Necrot has run into some sort of trouble without Devon, without everyone being able to rally around a clear and decisive leader like Devon. Greedy forces have taken hold. Industries have fallen to some levels of corruption. Some of the Romulans have inserted themselves into the minting and marketing business, acting as bodyguards on the roads, which are now filled with bandits. Things have changed quite a bit since you were here last. It seems without your guidance, things have slipped and fallen, and you've taken 1 step forward and now 2 steps back. But that is a story for another time, and we will come back some other day with some more Dicing with Death.
Fun stuff. Whew. I'm not even going to ask for experience, although we should probably skip some levels soon.
Yeah.
TM.
Yeah, absolutely. Probably when we come back next, we'll talk about where you want to be, what we want to do with levels.
Right,
clearly, some of your apprentices will have leveled in your absence. I think Moff has done some pretty cool shit and might at least earn a level from that. But that is all next time's problem.
Yeah, good stuff. Yeah, I should probably get going. Are you going to do a late critical feedback?
I think we will do a late critical feedback. Do you want to stick around for that? I don't know if you have time.
I should probably clean the house stuff.
Clean the house? What?
Wifey gets home and finds the dishes still unloaded. There will be hell to pay.
Ooh, okay. Well then, we're saying goodbye to Ryan right now. We will take a short break and come back with some critical feedback on the other side. But this probably is also going to cut into our story time, so no Iliad later, unfortunately. Critical feedback starts shortly. We're out. Ryan, thanks so much for playing. See you in the future.
Watching. Yeah, some lag someday.
Bye-bye.